I believe we're go. So, hi everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm so
We're
glad
just,
you could join us tonight.
I am still getting all of the make sure we're all techie here. Peggy can drink and I'll do the
Good.
techie.
Yay. Happy, happy, happy hour.
There we go. Yep, seems to be working. Awesome. We are good. So,
Cheers.
yay. Sometimes the technology does not always work. So if you're here and you can see and hear us, please let us know so that we know we're working. We got a few people saying hi already. We've got Lori and Susie. Hey, Susie. Doreen is here. Susan Peterson is here. Can you guys hear us okay? Say, yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you, Kerry.
I know this is good because we had a little issue, you guys, when we got started. We were not, yeah, there was a lot of this going on, but we're good now. We're
The
awesome.
tech gods are smiling on us right now.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I've had them dump me in the middle of lives a couple times. So,
Well, it's not a perfect situation. We're just trying to work out the kinks as the tech gods work out the kinks. But
right.
I've been looking forward to this all day.
I know, me too. I kept looking at the time and going, is it time? Is it time? Do we get, and partly because I wanted to.
We picked it up at the same time. Cheers. Cheers to a toast.
Oh, wait, we got it. There. Clink.
Clink.
So tell everybody what you're drinking over there, Peggy.
Well, what I am drinking is, I christened this drink an October Moon. And actually, AKA, it's an Aperol Spritz. And Aperol is an Italian liqueur, and I just happened to bring my bottle along, and you can see I don't like it very much. It's Aperol.
Aperol. You've been forced. It's like some kind of punishment, and you're a martyr to a cause.
Oh, I am a martyr to a cause. So I mix a little bit of this into just El Cheapo Trader Joe Prosecco, and then I make it fancy with an orange slice with a little sprig of rosemary in it. And Aperol is made of rhubarb and other.
What?
Yeah. It's sort of it's a really cool. They keep the recipe top secret over there in Italy in the Campari factory.
Rhubarb. Is it like really sour?
Well, you have to enjoy a little bit of bitter. Okay, it's got kind of a bittersweet quality to it, sort of like life in general. You know what I mean? And when you mix it with Prosecco, it's just divine. So it's on my website too. If anybody's curious as to the recipe, www.dinnerfeed.com, you may find, just put in the search engine, October Moon, and you will pop right up.
Your website, dinner feed?
Yeah, it's sort of a food writing blog. I started it when I was a writer with my local newspaper. I wrote a food column, and which sort of morphed into writing books, yada yada yada. But I've kept up the dinner feed blog, but I've started transitioning a bit more into literature and books, and I try to bring the two together in a happy medium.
Fun. I love it. That is so cool. I have to tell you, my only thing, I don't really like rhubarb. My mother used to grow it, and so
you need the sugar in it too.
There was rhubarb pie and the rhubarb everything. Here's my favorite rhubarb memory was, as kids, we would sit out on the back porch in the summer with our stock of rhubarb and a bowl of sugar. You lick the end of the rhubarb, you dip it in the sugar, and then you kind of chew on it a little bit. Plenty of germs, but
that's a classic. You can't possibly have rhubarb without lots of sugar.
Lots of sugar.
Lots and lots.
Sugar. So we have a ton of comments already. So I'm gonna hop over here real quick. We've got, let's see who else is here. Doreen, I'm glad you love the happy hours. We love them too. Amy's here. Hi, Amy. Hi, Lisha. Cheers to you also. Let's see. People are saying, Peggy, that looks really good.
Thank you. It is good. I wish that I could give you guys a glass of it. Okay, here you go.
Yeah. I don't know
Maybe
if I can.
next year we'll be able to do that, Kerry.
That would be fun. I don't know if I can even get that. What's it called again? The
Aperol.
Aperol. Okay. I doubt I can even get that here, but you never know. I will look.
I love it. It's good.
Let's
Do you
see.
have any happy hour venues over there in Washington?
Well, we probably do, but I live in Colville. Let's not forget. So
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Colville. I know Washington, but Colville.
Colville, no. Colville is like, well, I don't know. There might be 5,000 people, limited restaurants, not a lot of anything. I don't know that I've ever seen Aperol, but I will look for it. We'll see. Let's see. Marilyn's here. Kay. Hi, Kay. Hi, Carla's here from Alabama. Happy hour. What do you got?
Alabama, yay! Go Tide!
And Carla's saying, how did I not know that Aperol was made from rhubarb? Who knew? I didn't know any alcohol was made from rhubarb. This is a Marilyn's looking as shocked as I am. Amy says, a friend ordered an Aperol spritzer at an Italian restaurant and they had no clue what it was. Yeah, I would not have known either. Carla says she loves your dinner feed posts. Hi,
thank you, Carla.
Everybody's agreeing that lots of sugar needed for rhubarb. Strawberry rhubarb pie, pretty good, but still I'd rather have the strawberry pie without the rhubarb. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Bambi. Hi, everybody. This is awesome. This is fun. Let's have a What are you all drinking? Did you all bring something to drink too? I've got Cabernet. My favorite thing is Cabernet. So
I love Cabernet. There's not many alcohols I don't like actually, but I'm okay. I know how to keep it in line.
Sure.
Unlike the character in your latest book, I've got a little bit of.
Yeah. Braden has
that latest book of yours, by the way. Just
sure. This one right here. You mean?
I listened to the Audible version of it, Kerry.
Isn't the narrator gorgeous?
Oh my God. Well, the narrator is gorgeous only because the writing is gorgeous too. It was such a good book. And I love a book where I can learn a lot. I learned so much about the cello. And I actually typed up one of the reviews, one of the many glowing reviews you have on Amazon so far. And if you've read the book, make sure you review it, by the way. And do you mind if I just read it and then put in my 2 cents worth?
You know what? I'm not going to argue about you saying anything good about the book. You know how all of us authors, we're kind of like, well, sluts, really.
Oh, I know.
Any positive, like, give it to me.
I know. Please review. Anyway, this is okay. From the very first page of this beautiful, haunting book, I was completely immersed in the story and its broken, troubled characters. This is a novel that worked its way into my heart and soul utterly and completely. And then she says a few more things. And music is an intricate part of this book, weaving its way in and out of the story, tearing the characters apart and bringing them back together. And, when I was listening to the book, I hadn't read the review, but I thought, surely Kerry is a cellist. She has to be able to personify the cello in such such an eerie, wonderful way. So could you maybe talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can. Funny thing, I'm not a cellist, not even.
You are kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. I play, interestingly enough, I play the piano and the tuba.
Yeah. Oh, the tuba. Okay.
I've always loved cello, but I knew like nothing about them. So when my character persisted in wanting to play a cello, and then the cello persisted in wanting to have a soul and a personality, I was like, really? Because I was married to a musician for 20 years, and he was the sort of person who could play just about everything. Like he could pick up an instrument and play it, and he taught music. So we had almost every instrument in the world came through our house, but not strings. He wasn't into violin and cello and all of that. So
my favorite, the piano as well.
But yeah, I have a baby grand at my house, but I hardly ever play any. I'm not home. I'm in my office right now, and I honestly haven't played for so long. I don't know what's going on with that. That's a thing. I'm not at my music right now, which is maybe part of why I wrote the book. Now that I think about it, don't know. Anyway, yeah.
I want to interrupt you 1 second. I was reading today about the strings in general, and it said the cello has the most human-like voice of all of the strings and a masculine voice. And then I thought, oh my gosh, she knew this before she wrote this. Did you know that?
No, not really. Maybe intuitively, kind of. I have a thing for cellos. They've always been magical for me, and I love to listen to them. But I have a couple of friends who play cello, and I had to hit them up for cello tips and inspiration. Well, and check my facts and things like, for example, I had, the cello lying on its side in a scene, and she's like, no, nobody who knows anything about cellos would ever do that. It has to be standing up. Things like that. So, and then I just did a lot of research.
Well, there was just so much magical realism imbued into this, and then I was reading about you today, doing my homework on Amazon, and apparently you also write Gothic. No, that's not correct. By another name, your real name, Kerry Schaefer.
Oh my goodness, I don't need that right now. Sorry. It's my beef guy. We always buy grass-fed beef every year, and so
I love grass-fed beef. Good,
fantastic. Yes.
We buy half a cow, but anyway, we digress. Go ahead. As you were saying about
the magic and Kerry Schaefer and all of that. Yeah, Kerry Schaefer writes fantasy and paranormal kind of stuff. So I loved in this particular book of Carrie Ann King, I was able to bring a little bit of the magic across into the real world, and I had, a great deal of fun doing that. The cello really wanted this, and I was scared to death that my agent and my editor would not go for it. So I was so relieved when they were also excited about the cello.
Yay! It was perfect. It was a perfect instrument because it was a character in the book.
It was a character.
The cello was a main character in the book, and I came to, actually, it was a female.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give no spoilers, but it was very cool, and it really worked, and it wasn't at all outlandish. I mean, the way you wrote about it and wove the whole story of it, the cello, into the book was just absolutely exquisite, and it was just add to the poignancy of the whole thing.
Thank you. I felt like as I did the research, the old time luthiers, the makers of those instruments. There's
a new word I learned when I read your book, luthier.
Yeah, there's so much mythology around those guys, and so these beliefs that there was some kind of magic process involved, or some supernatural deal that they made in order to be able to create instruments like that, because nobody has ever been able to figure out how to do it again, right?
Yeah. So you talked about the different musicians and how they had their own myths and superstitions, and you spoke of that early on in the book, as I recall, which made sense as you kept reading your story. And I mean, let's set the record straight. It wasn't all about a cello. No, not by any means. It was a story that you could not stop reading or listening to about grief, loss, and redemption. Is the stuff of life. It was very, very much the stuff of life, and it spoke to me. Lots of tears, and I loved the characters. Okay, you do have a background in psychology, right?
I do. Should we stop and look at a couple questions real quick?
Yes.
Because I want to make sure that everybody else is in here with us. Let's see. Marilyn says it's good to see us live. Let's see. We've got Kim from Virginia.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim. Leisha's drinking tea.
Good. See, that would keep me up all night.
Tea is good for you.
Green tea is good for you.
I used to drink a little bit of tea. I don't know. Carla's into Pinot Noir. I like Pinot too. Heidi's also drinking tea. We've got Diet Sunkissed from Kim, sorry. I'm a lightweight, like one glass. This is going to be
I'm sort of a lightweight too.
Bambi's reading the book now. Yay, thank you, Bambi. And Carla says she loved it. Thanks, you guys. Love that. Hi, Terry Lynn and Cindy. We've got tons of people here. Hi,
everybody. I'm so glad to see.
Rhonda's here. Sarah's here. Heidi's in Georgia. Wow, you guys are all over. Tracy says she has never played an instrument. It's never too late.
It isn't.
It really truly isn't.
decide that you want to play an instrument,
Right.
actually.
Right, you can learn it anytime. Kim says, I play piano and my dream is to have a baby grand someday. Yeah, I feel really lucky to have it. I honestly, it's terrible that I'm not playing it. It's serving as beautiful furniture right now. It's actually an antique. It's a beautiful little thing.
Okay.
And I don't know. I used to play all the time. I have to get back to it. Amy says she used to play the violin. Carla agrees the cello definitely was another character. And Lori says she can't play an instrument, but she sings. Lori, singing is an instrument. Your voice is totally considered an instrument. Kelly says, Kelly's here. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
I'm loving the cocktail hour. Let's see. Cecile played the flute in high school. And Marilyn wants to know if that's a Picasso behind you, Peggy.
No, actually, it's not. A friend of mine painted that a number of years ago, who's a French painter. And Louis and Lorraine were the couple, absolutely lovely. But I love this picture, and it's very whimsical and
very cool. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, it's hard. It's not lit well, but anyway, no, it's not. I wish it were a Picasso, Marilyn. Oh my goodness, but no, it's not.
Let's see. Leisha says wine is supposed to be good for the heart. I prefer wine coolers. That's what I always tell myself. I tell myself it's good for me. It's healthy. It's good.
It's good. Everything in moderation.
And Heidi drinks green tea at night. Yeah, that's a good idea. A little less caffeine in that. Heidi will be in
keep me up all night. If I drink tea at night with the caffeine, even green tea, I can't drink caffeine after 10 a.m. Otherwise.
Yeah. You know, even herb tea, like the ones that are supposed to make you sleep, if I drink those at bedtime, then I have to get up and pee like 6 times during the night. So it's not helpful.
Sleepy time tea, I've tried that before. You know, the best thing for me on those sleepless nights is a melatonin, you know, just a low dose of melatonin. And
that helps. Meditation for me, honestly, I always sleep better if I do a little bit of meditation, and actually a little touch of kind of self-sleep hypnosis before I go to bed.
Really? What do you think about?
Well, with the meditation, it's just breathing, relaxation breathing, but I do know how to do hypnosis. I haven't done a lot, just enough to play with it, which is really super fun. It was fun to bring that in. I also brought that into the novel, by the way. If you haven't read it, it does show up in Everything You Are, because it's so cool.
Can you hypnotize me right now? Can you do something to chill me out? Please, I need to chill. I'm just like hyper. That's just normally me. I sometimes put lavender cream underneath my nose, and that seems to.
That's supposed to help. Lavender is supposed to be there's different oils that will do that. But really, honestly, meditation, just the practice, especially if you have a mind that races like that, the practice of it will help you calm and focus. But at first, it will make you crazy. It's like doing exercises. Like,
you know what? Once I took a meditation class, and there were about 5 of us in sort of a basement room, and a woman was leading it. And after trying to meditate about 30 minutes, I think I got to my place, and then I started weeping, crying, and all these women were staring at me, and it's like, oh my gosh, it was a very intense experience for me.
It will totally do that because it takes you down past all of your defenses and into a state of relaxation. And so, like, anytime I've been hypnotized, I actually just immediately start to cry. It's just like, and it's not painful. It's not painful. It's a release kind of thing. It's really fascinating. Hypnosis is really fun, you guys.
Have you been hypnotized before?
I have, because I did a class. I actually was going to get certified in doing heart-centered hypnotherapy, and then I decided not to do that and just focus full-time on my writing. So I did a very intense.
That would scare me, honestly.
Well, I was scared too, actually. But the thing is that at any time I would have been able to bring myself out. It's like,
really,
there's not that. The myth is that they have this complete and utter control of you, and you would have to go really, really deep for that. I mean, hypnosis can take you into, they can use it for surgery and stuff. I mean, they can like take somebody to a point where they can literally do surgery. in a hypnotic state. It's totally fascinating, but we probably don't want to spend the whole time talking about that, right?
No. But I do want to ask you about your clinical background, unless there's other questions to ask up there. I can't see anybody's questions.
Yeah, I know, because I'm looking at it. So go ahead, ask me about the clinical background, then we'll go back and look again.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of mental stuff going on in this book, and a lot of head trips. People are playing on one another, and which is fascinating to me. It's just real. It's just, it's like life. And so I was thinking, is Kerry a therapist? I was trying.
I am.
You are a therapist.
I am. Yeah.
Well, lie down on the couch right now. Okay, I'm back.
Have another drink. It's okay.
Okay.
I am a licensed mental health counselor. I never did get into that whole lie on the couch stuff because I'm very, there's this guy named Carl Rogers, which in my mind kind of relates to Mr. Rogers because they were kind of the same. So Rogerian really was my favorite of all of the therapies I studied. And the whole belief was on mutual respect and that healing comes out of a relationship and understanding and listening and positive regard and that sort of thing. But I really did get into studying post-traumatic stress for a while because it's fascinating and I really kind of specialized in that.
That plays into your book quite a bit.
Yeah. It tends to come up a lot in my books, as it turns out. That and grief. I have a lot of personal experience with grief, so that seems to always pop up in my books. And then the other one is I worked a lot with people who were dealing with recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. So although I have no personal experience with that, I do have a lot of experience with clients. So in this book, I have worked with people with post-traumatic stress disorder. I've worked with people trying to recover from alcohol. I've worked with grief. Mm-hmm. So all of those things really, I have personal experience and I have experience working with clients.
Because your book was so real. It was so real. I knew that it came from a place of a deep understanding of your subject matter, which I always appreciate when I read a book. And that was very, very evident in your prose. It was fascinating and entertaining and sad and happy and all of those emotions combined to be really just a great book. I mean, so are you writing something new now?
I am, as a matter of fact, and that's good that you asked that because somebody else had asked that question. So as a matter of fact, I am currently in developmental edits on my new book. So I have a deadline. I'm rewriting like crazy. It's due back to my editor on November 1st. So the new book is called A Borrowed Life. And in the short form, it's a woman who is middle-aged, has been married to a really very controlling pastor who's at the extreme edge of the religious spectrum. And he dies suddenly, and so she is in this position of working towards finding a new life. She joins the community theater, and she begins to have some experimentation with life, kind of almost like she's a teenager again, whereas her adult daughter's reaction to the grief is to really try to keep everything exactly the way that it always was. So I have this very fun role reversal where the daughter Abigail is trying to keep mom in line, like mom's the rebellious teenager who is getting into a lot of the rebellious teenager kind of trouble. So,
well, she never did that when she was young. She was married to a priest.
Right. She got married, right out of high school. And so
he was one of these fire and brimstone.
Yeah, totally fire and brimstone, and women as very subservient and there to serve men. So it's very fun. And interestingly enough, I have just enough background in that religion.
Yeah. Oh, really? Which religion?
Yeah, well, not that. I didn't give it a specific religion, but I grew up in a religious situation where I know people like this, and they were all around me when I was growing up.
I grew up in Alabama. I mean, there were revivals all over the place.
Yeah.
On the way to high school, there were revival tents. It was.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. And they're much more liberal now than they were when I was a child in general, but it was very restrictive. You know, you couldn't go to the theater, you definitely didn't dance. We used to have a joke that you shouldn't have sex because it would lead to dancing. It was kind of a joke, but you know.
Sex would lead to dancing? You mean dancing would lead to sex?
Well, normally that's what you would say, right? Dancing was considered such a bad thing that we kind of flipped it for the humor quality.
That was certainly not my upbringing. No,
right.
No.
I still can't dance, oddly enough, because then I married a musician, and musicians' wives don't dance. That's another joke, because your husband's always playing. So
okay.
he may not want you dancing with the other guys. And anyway, whatever. Life is weird. So
life is fascinating.
We can talk about that more. I should look here and see what do we got going on real quick. Let's see. We had some other people play the violin. Let's see. Finding where we were. Where are we from? Heidi would like to know. I am from Canada, actually. I grew up in interior British Columbia, lived in Canada for my younger years, and now I live in the town of Colville, Washington. 5,000 people in the middle of trees and hills, very far from Seattle. When people think of Washington, they think about the Seattle area. I'm like a good 6 hours drive from there.
Yeah. I've been on the Olympic Peninsula in Seattle. That's the greenest place I have ever seen.
Oh, it is very green there for sure.
Gorgeous.
But again, far from there. So we tend to have a lot of snow in the winter, definitely 4 seasons, mountains and lots of animals and all that kind of thing.
Lovely.
So that's where I'm at. What about you, Peggy? Where are you?
I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and my family still lives there. My brothers and my aunt, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, I just got back from a family reunion yesterday in the Florida Panhandle. To all of you in the know, it's also known as the Redneck Riviera. Gorgeous, gorgeous beaches. I mean, we had such a blast. We got a huge house, you know, crammed 24 people, ranging from the ages of 6 months to 90 years old. It was my aunt's 90th birthday party.
Oh,
so
how cool.
That's what it was all about. And oh my gosh, we had a blast. But that's the area of the country I'm from. I ended up at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And then I moved to New York City. My first job was with a PR firm. And I came back to Ann Arbor to pick up my record collection. That was all I owned. And so anyway, the rest is history. And now I'm happily married. I've got 2 grown children. I have, you know, from my second marriage, I have some 11 step grandkids and 1 biological grandchild. So lots and lots and lots of people. But yeah, so Ann Arbor and Birmingham. If you notice a Southern accent, that's where it's from.
You know, you almost sound more New York than Southern to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe that's from when I lived. I thought New York more talk like this.
Me too. I don't know. I'm Canadian. What do I know, right?
I remember a girl in Manhattan that I used to work with. I remember she looked at her food at her desk, and she said, "Yuck, that makes me nauseous." And I always say that whenever I see something that really is unappetizing.
That's very funny, actually. Doreen, we're glad you're having fun. That's awesome. Heidi is also asking, when did we start writing?
As a kid. How about you?
Same. Yeah.
I mean, I pinned all my thoughts in my diaries, which I currently have.
Oh my gosh, I'm at the point where I'm gonna shred my diaries. I went through this summer the event of losing my mother, and
I remember that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much. And what I realized, although I very much enjoyed going through all of her stuff, is I don't want my kids to read mine. I'm like, no, you don't need to know all this. It's like nobody needs to know all this. I have, you know, because when I journal, I write everything in there. I write out all my emotions. I try, like, if I'm angry, I get rid of that. And you know how it is when you're
Oh, yeah.
angry, you have all of these weird thoughts that go through your head, and you just let it all go. It's like they don't need to read that stuff. It's like,
Oh, I know. I think I'm going to eventually, but right now sometimes they're a great tool as a writer when you're trying to like channel the mind of a teenage girl. So all I have to do is pick up that diary and go, oh,
oh
hello,
God.
there she is.
My teenage self was interested in almost nothing but boys.
Mine was interested in rock and roll and boys
Yeah,
and my friends. I had very passionate friendships with, well, not in a physical sense, but I had
right.
very
Sure.
close friends that I would have fights with, girlfriends, and then I would end up in the bathroom in high school just weeping my eyes out, and then all the other girls would come in, what's wrong? I say, Barbara did this to me or something like that. And then I'd write all about it in my diary when I got
Right.
home. My mother, oh my gosh, she just drove me crazy. But I'm digressing. Let's get back to books.
It was all fun though. Well, no, it wasn't. High school was terrible. I hated high school. I would not, you could not pay me to do high school.
No,
$1,000,000.
middle school is what nearly did me in.
Really.
Oh my
Middle school was where it started to go wrong for me. High school was where it went really, really, really wrong. Oh God. No, I'm not sure. Like for $1,000,000 with the time machine, even knowing what I know now, I don't know. I don't know if I would do that again. Don't
I
know.
had some pretty interesting times in high school. I developed some friends there that I still very close with now. So it was a mixed bag for me. High school back then in the '70s in Alabama. It was it was fun though. I think actually I had pretty good. It was the middle school years that just
Yeah.
Anyway.
Growing up. Let's see. We have other people who do breathing. Cecile does breathing.
Yeah.
She says it works because it forces me to think about what I'm doing. Doreen says deep breaths, positive in, negative out. That was a way back.
Very nice. Very good advice. Positive in, negative out.
Heidi would like to know if our family reads our books.
Yes, my family reads my books, and but I think it makes my daughter a little uncomfortable. My teenage daughter. Now, my son is a poet. He lives in Philly. He's getting his master's in poetry from Temple right now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and so he gets it, and he himself is used to expressing himself. My daughter's a furniture designer in Chicago, and she doesn't get my passion as much as I would like her to, and
right.
And she would like me to put other things before my writing all the time. In fact, I'm going to Chicago to babysit in a few days, which is wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love
Sure.
it. But, she definitely thinks it should be low on the totem pole. How about you? What is your family?
My family, my kids, it's so fun. My youngest really doesn't, he's not a reader, and it's tragic because I read to both of my boys when they were young. I like really, really read to them because I wanted them to be readers. And
Sure.
My eldest carried right along, and he got all excited and was reading before he went to kindergarten. And my youngest, he can read, but he doesn't care to all that much. But it's so cute because he's so proud of me. So it's like he's been following with my release. He follows my reviews and stuff. So he will message me and tell me where I'm at in the Kindle store. And then he messaged me this one day, and he was just absolutely outraged because I had a 1-star review. And he was just indignant.
It's just like you've got to get over it. Every writer has 1-star, 2-star reviews.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
When you write from your heart, it's you're speaking to your people, and not everybody in the world are your people, and you can't please everyone. So
no, and I have the 1-star reviews that I know of so far in this book are people who don't like swears in books, and my characters, they swear. They use a fair bit of profanity. My mother had a problem with that too, actually. It was every book she would call me or email me and say, it's such a wonderful book, but I don't understand why you have to do this. I'm like,
because it's real life. No, I didn't even actually. That didn't stand out to me. I mean, what is it? Maybe I'm just so kind
yeah,
of
it was
indoctrinated.
in this book. It was mostly Allie, the teenager, who did most
Oh,
of the
the
swearing. But
teenager role. What do you expect?
yeah. But anyway, so
Especially
so
what happened to her.
it was
Yeah,
absolutely really. I was just really touched that my son was, so upset on my behalf, and he's just really
I love
cute. He follows my reviews and all of that, and he's trying to read the books. He gets about halfway through, and then my elder son, he reads. He's read my books, and my Viking, he's one of my my early readers. He actually is my continuity reader, so he always wants to know what I'm working on, and
wonderful.
we talk
Where's
about stuff.
Viking now? Can you put him on screen?
I cannot.
Does he have
No,
horns?
he does.
Really? He's a real Viking from Norway.
There's a mystery. There's mystique about the Viking. You will notice if you look online, you will never see a picture of him. There are some blurry ones that are like, when you get a picture of the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. So he's
Yeah.
a mystery man. So he might not even be real. He might just live in your imagination.
No. Okay, I'm gonna have to post a few pictures about proof that the Viking is real. I have those. He's definitely real. He totally reads for me and everything, which is really awesome. Let's see. Alicia says your new book sounds great. Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Which is right. I wanted to talk about your books, Peggy. We've been talking about
No. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to do a cover reveal. So
yeah. Talk about that.
Oh, well, it's just, I haven't revealed anything about it. So I'm not going to really get into it too much tonight because I haven't revealed the name or the cover. But anyway.
So we get the title and the cover tomorrow?
Woo! It will be published on February 5th. It's about 3 sisters and with an indelible bond and a historic lighthouse that they all called their old home, which is located in Key West, Florida, a place I'm very familiar. And it's, the lies and secrets and passions of the past collide with the present. And what I hope the readers will find to be an exciting read. It was really exciting for me to write. So we'll see.
I just absolutely, I love that. And I love that we don't know even the title. You guys, Peggy is hosting Blue Sky tomorrow. So make sure that you pop in and see what she's got going on, because I'm totally going to be there. I want to see.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you. Well, I hope to see all of you there. And do we have any more questions?
I am looking. Lots of comments. They're all still here with us and watching.
Yay! Thank you, guys.
Let's see. Carla says that she is currently around Birmingham and she used to live in Ann Arbor. So you guys have done a little.
I know, Carla. How come we haven't hooked up? When's the next time you're in Ann Arbor?
And then she said, "Roll Tide and go blue," and I'm sure you know what that means.
Yes, I do. I know both of those things.
What are our favorite fairy tales from growing up? Alicia would like to know.
Me, I like the really scary ones, the traditional scary ones that they pretty much banned,
Like the Brothers Grimm, the ones that were supposed to be too scary for kids, right?
Oh yeah, I liked and I also liked the tales of Uncle Remus, Brer Fox and Brer Rabbit, and but yeah, Hansel and Gretel and Snow White, the really violent parts of Snow White I like, but they banned all that since I was a kid. How about you, Kerry?
I liked Snow White and I liked all of those. I was totally into King Arthur stuff though, like the Sword in the Stone and all that. I really, I'm a fantasy geek, honestly. Yeah. My favorite genre. It's interesting because I write women's fiction. I love what I write. Yeah. But I adore fantasy. Fantasy was one of my first loves. And that whole Arthurian magic, romance, the knights and the maidens and the dragons and
Sword in the Stone.
Sword in the Stone, yeah. And almost all of my books, now that I think about it, that whole, the only person who could draw that sword was the person who was destined to draw it. I always have a little bit of that kind of a theme in all of my books. They're like, all of my characters are on a voyage of discovery. Who are you really meant to be in the world, and how do you become that person? So it's interesting because it all goes back to that original.
Yeah.
love for.
Who asked that question? That was a great question.
That was a really good question. That was Lisha. Lisha, thank you, Lisha. That was a great
Thanks,
one.
Leisha. That was fun.
And Heidi, thank you. Sorry for the loss. Yeah, it's always hard. My mom was she was in her 80s and she was completely active until the day she died. Well, not until the day she died. She had a stroke, so we had a couple of weeks of not so much. But it's the kind of thing the doctors would ask, well, what was her function before? Was she walking? And I'd just be like, dude, think of her like she was 50. It was like, so it was really, in all the ways, it was awesome life for her because she was active, she was artistic, she was making things, she was creative, she painted. And one of the very last things she did, she entered her latest picture in the local art walk and asked for it to be juried, not because she wanted to win, but because she wanted the comments so she could get better at her art at 80 something. I know, it's so amazing. I aspire to be that. I think
she sounds like a lovely, lovely woman. And I remember that I remember you're talking about a little bit. It was sort of mirroring a previous book that you'd written or something.
Ooh, that was freaky. Yeah, with Whisper Me This, because I wrote a scene where a character is dealing with the death of her mother before any of this happened with my mother, and it really, there were some weird little woo similarities in all of it.
Yeah.
I'm loving the Viking comments over here. Viking is a mystery man. He's a legend. He will love to hear that, by the way. So he loves when I post anything about him and people are interested.
I know. I've got to turn my husband into some mythical creature. I'm not sure what I will. Maybe a dragon or something. I don't know. Viking's pretty good. The Viking is he Norwegian or?
He is. And it was so fun because I actually caught, I was doing some like checking, as we sometimes do, looking at our Google stuff, right? And I put in Kerry Ann King, and there was somebody had searched for Kerry Ann King Viking. And I thought that was awesome.
That is awesome. That's cool.
Trying to find out about him a little bit. Let's see. Carla is telling you, I hope you guys can get together sometime, either in Birmingham or Ann Arbor.
We have to. A lot of times I go to Birmingham, but this time I went down to Grayton Beach, Carla, which is a little bit past because, you know how I go to see my Aunt Jane and my brothers and everything. Carla and I've had this conversation about getting together. Anyway, it will happen.
It will. I bet you it will. Sherry loves King Arthur too, and Camelot. Yeah, I love that stuff. I got to go to Wales with a friend once and see some of the old castles that all of these legends were built. Anyway, it was
how cool.
Loved it. Heidi Rose loved Little House on the Prairie. I love those books too, Heidi.
Little House on the Prairie. So good.
Yep. That's another thing I have to tell you because this is so cute. Because my Viking, big tough guy, right? And partly why I call him the Viking is he can be, Viking-ish in his moods. He loves the Little House stuff. He used to watch it.
Laura all the time. Baking pies and cookies. They were such a sweet, wonderful family. They need to come back. We need the Little House on the Prairie today.
We do need them. And sometimes we'll do the whole, he had to work out of town for a while and he'd say, well, this is the part where Pa goes off to work on the railroad, send the money home to the family, right?
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's very cute. Let's see. Heidi, I'm sorry that you lost your mom. Well, she was way too young. Oh my God. That's hard. That's really hard. That's a hard thing. Carla says you guys are going to get together someday soon. And Sherry says, my husband is Gru from Despicable Me. I love Gru. He is just...
I haven't seen Despicable Me.
You have to watch it. It's, I thought it would be really stupid and it wasn't really, like he said.
Is it on Netflix?
It should be on Netflix. I can't remember why I finally watched it, but I absolutely just fell in love. He is just, this villain, quote unquote, who is completely won over by these children, right? Like these little girls just steal his heart, and it's just, it'll melt you.
Okay, Despicable Me. I've got a note of Netflix I have to watch.
It's funny.
I love Netflix. It's my way to chill.
Well, so we are actually past our half hour.
What time is it?
It is
8:42.
Yeah,
Time flies.
5:42. It goes so fast, right?
Right. This was so much fun, Kerry. Thank you.
So we'll have to do it again.
I look forward to that. I really do. And everybody go out and get this. If you haven't bought any of Kerry's books, go get them because they are good. They are
Yeah.
good. If you're a walker and you need some company, get the audible version like myself. The narrator is excellent.
He is, and you know what else? This is terrible, and I shouldn't even say this because it shouldn't matter. But I was looking Will up. It's narrated by a gentleman named Will Dameron, and I looked him up, and he's also just cute. I mean, he's just like I was like, oh,
Braden? Is he Braden?
He's not Braden. No, he's younger. He's
he's younger. Okay, well that's good.
Yeah. So anyways, this is awesome. You guys make sure you pop in tomorrow and find out Peggy's awesome secrets, because I am now dying to know. And let's see, you can get everything you are. You already know that, well, where to find us. We're on Blue Sky, and bring your friends to join us because we can
come and join the party. The more the merrier.
Right, exactly.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. We are so delighted.
Thank you. We had so much fun. All right. Good night, everybody.